Hi everyone, it's Don, and today, in light of recent events like shore excursions in Cozumel being canceled and things like that, I thought I'd bring you a video based around safety and safety tips, both on the ships and when you're heading to ports and shore excursions and things like that. Some things that you should bring with you, some things that you should always do in your cabins and things like that. So stay tuned for that. I think I have 15 tips in mind coming up right after this. Number one, I see this a lot, people not paying attention during the muster drill. And I know if you've been there a lot of times and you've gone through this quite a few times, you can tend to get monotonous and a little boring, and the cruise lines do what they can to spice it up and entertain people and things like that. But it's very important that you pay attention, listen, not only that, but know where you are. A lot of people go to the muster station, and then if I ask them 3 days later, oh, by the way, where's your muster station? They don't really know how to get there from their cabin, or basically anywhere else on the ship for that matter. So make sure you know how to get there fastest way possible in case the worst thing happens, because you don't want to be that person running around in a panic. You want to be that calm, cool, collected person who knows what they're doing and heading directly there. Number two is make sure you have the proper travel insurance, whether it's cancellation insurance for any reason, whether it's medical insurance, very least have medical insurance no matter what. And people always ask me, the cruise lines generally have a set amount of like $25,000 on certain cruise insurances. Is that enough? Yes, generally that's enough, but if you want to take out more, take out more. More insurance is way better than no insurance. So I'd rather you spend another $20 per person to get higher coverage insurance than to say I want to save the $50 and not get the insurance, because if it happens, you're going to be really wishing you had had the insurance. Number two, before you go, take your passport, and if you have a scanner or a printer, scan it and email it to yourself. So now you can get your passport scan anywhere in the world that has an internet connection by just hooking up to your own email address. Barring that, take a picture of it. Have some kind of backup copy as well. Another thing you should do is make a copy and leave it with your emergency contact that you put on your check-in for the cruise. This way, if they have to reach them for any reason, they also have a backup of your passport. Number four, check for travel warnings for any of the locations you're going to. In the United States, you can find it at travel.state.com and or travel.state.gov, and there will be a list of warnings. For instance, right now the Cozumel warning for the ferries is up there if you're going to Cozumel on a cruise right now. So that site will have any government warnings for anything going on currently on the cruise and the ports that you're going to. Number five is, everyone knows that if you take medication, especially medication for heart and things that you absolutely need, you should never ever pack it in your suitcase. It should always be in your travel carry-on case, and it should never leave your sight. Never ever check it, never ever give it to a porter at the cruise terminal. Keep it with you at all times. Not only that, you should also have a list of the names and the doses of your medication that your doctors have prescribed for you, and carry that in your wallet or your purse along with you. So if you ever need it when you're on a shore excursion, if you don't have that medication with you, you do have the proper name and the list, and if you need medical attention, they know exactly what you're talking about, and there's no confusion. Number six is, if you're under treatment of a doctor at home for an ongoing illness, don't be afraid if you get sick on the ship to call home to the doctor and find out give them your symptoms and let them know what's going on, or have the cruise doctor call your doctor, and they might know some side effects that might be happening because of the medication you're on or some treatments that you've had that the cruise doctor wouldn't know unless he talks to them. So don't be afraid if you're undergoing ongoing care to let the cruise doctors know, or just call yourself. Number 7, if you're nervous about safety on a cruise port or traveling around town or things like that, always use the cruise line cruises. Sign up for shore excursion from the ship. They have been checked. They use them every time they're in port. Multiple ships use them. You're probably pretty much guaranteed to have the safest company operating those tours that you can possibly get. And the cruise line knows where you are and what time you're expected back. And if you don't arrive back on time, they will ask questions or send out people to find you. Number 8, while you're going to a shore excursion, know your physical limits. Okay, I'll admit it, I'm 55 years old and I still feel like I'm 20, but I'm not. And I know for a fact that I'm not able to do the physical things I was able to do at 20. I can still horseback ride, I can still snorkel, mountain climbing, can't do that anymore like I used to be able to do. I can't play a full game of hockey like I used to be able to do. So don't think that you can do some of these shore excursions that say severe, how would I word it? Anything that use severe physical activity or strenuous on the body. How many times have I gone to Dunn's Falls, for instance, in Jamaica, and I see people who are a little heavier set and older and a little more wobbly on their feet. I've seen people in canes, and they're trying to traverse up the waterfall at Dunn's Falls, and they're slipping and they're falling, and I see twisted ankles, and the people are trying to tell them they can't go, and they still try and sneak by and go anyway. Know your physical limitations and do shore excursions that you know you're able to do and are safe to do, so you don't injure yourself on your trip. Number 9, do some research. Research the ports that you're going to and see if there's any no-go sections listed there. You'll find them on the internet. If you're talking about Mexico City, they'll show you no-go sections. If you're going to some places in the Panama Canal, there may be some no-go sections. It might not be because of danger. It may be because of, these people lined up to sell you things along the shore are really, really aggressive. And so they might say avoid those. But do your research. And if you haven't done your research, at the very least, talk to your shore excursion manager and ask them, are there any no-go areas in the cruise ports you're going to? Because they're obligated to tell you that those areas are a little iffy. So do it yourself, and don't be afraid to ask your shore excursion manager as well. Number 10, always try and travel in groups. Now, I'm a solo traveler. I'm a male. I'm not a tiny guy. I'm still fairly physically fit, so I don't present an easy-looking target when I'm walking around by myself. But even by myself, I always try and stay on well-lit areas, main populated areas, main streets, things like that. And I'll also try and walk where groups of other tourists are, as opposed to heading off down some side street by myself, because then I might be just asking for trouble. So try and travel in groups. Try and travel with as many people. Even if you're by yourself, you can still see other cruisers out there walking. The ports are full of us. So don't be afraid to just tag along behind by a couple feet, 30 or 40 feet, and go to the same areas they're heading to, and then follow some other people. But safety in numbers is always the best idea. Number 11 is be discreet. Don't flash big wads of cash with you. First of all, you shouldn't be traveling with a whole wad of cash. Create credit cards, or even better, prepaid credit cards or prepaid Visa cards that you can buy in the stores that put $200 on it. Use those, because if you lose them, you've only lost that amount. No one's going to hack your account. So those are the best things to have. Barring that, never travel with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on you, because as soon as you open it up to buy a bottle of water someplace, people are going to see that and now you're a target. Also, don't walk around with your big $10,000 Canon D80 camera always out, always looking around with your camera, because now people will target you saying, hey, I can get $800 for that camera if I steal it, and they're going to look for an opportunity to take it from you. So don't flash jewelry, cash, big expensive items with you. Anything that they're going to be able to quick grab and snatch and run, that's what they're going to do. Number 12, use your safe. And I'm not talking about only when you go to a shore excursion. Leave everything you possibly can that you need, your passport, cash, credit cards, locked in that safe, and keep it locked and don't leave it open, even if it's a sea day. Always, always keep it closed, and any valuables you possibly have, lock it in that safe. Number 13, balconies. We all love to sail with balconies. We can pop open the door, get some fresh air out the cabin, especially on a longer cruise, 10 or 14 days. You get that fresh air and it feels always cleaner in your cabins. But a lot of people have a tendency to, on port days when the ship's not moving, to prop it open and leave it unlocked and leave it open. Well, guess what? Sometimes the cruise lines hire people to do maintenance on the ship and wash windows and things like that on the ship that aren't actually working on the cruise. They're not your stateroom attendants or anything like that. And if you leave your door to your balcony wide open and somebody goes by, there's nothing stopping them from just walking in and seeing if they can take a camera that might be sitting on your bed or something along those lines. So always, when you leave the room, lock that balcony, and then you'll never have any issues with something like that. Number 14 is get to know your cabin steward. Make friends with them on the first day. Get to know them by name. Say hi to them when you walk down the hallway, and thank them when they've done their job. If you happen to be walking in when they're coming out, thank them very much. Be on a friendly rapport. They'll get to know you, and they'll also then keep an eye out if anyone's around your cabin for any reason that's not you, and they'll pay extra attention to it. If they never see you and don't know who you are, they will assume whoever's going into that cabin is the person supposed to be going in that cabin. But my cabin steward knew me. I said hi to them all the time. We had conversations. So if anyone was trying to get into my cabin, they would know that it's not me, and they would stop them. And lastly, number 15, never, ever, ever accept an invitation to the cruise quarters. No cruise line in the world allows cruise staff to fraternize with the guests as far as personal fraternization is concerned. Yes, they're gonna teach you dances and dance classes. They're gonna sing with you. They're gonna have fun with you, but they're not going to invite you back to their stateroom. And sometimes this can be completely innocent. Somebody you made friendship with somebody, and they say, hey, if you come over to my stateroom, I have this thing from my cruise over there that I'll give you, and it's a nice souvenir, and you're great. Perfectly innocent. But never ever do it, because you never know. First of all, they're not allowed to do it. If they're caught, even if it's innocent, they can be immediately fired by the cruise line, because it's a strict rule and one of the strictest rules they have, and grounds for immediate dismissal. And worst case scenario, somebody's up to no good and you're not supposed to be in that area to begin with. So whatever you do, never accept an invitation to go to the cruise quarters. So there's just a few tips, 15 of them, to help yourself stay safe, stay secure, and just feel safer when you're getting ready for your cruise. If you know you've done some of these things and you're not going to do some of these things on the ship, like leave your balcony door open while you're up in the pool on a port day. Things like that. Sometimes you just don't think about them, but when you think about it, oh yeah, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. So I hope you like these tips. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and you want to see more tips and more cruising videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Till next time, please have yourself a safe and a great vacation.